Hi everybody, it's My Little Paper Addiction here with a process video on making your own traveler's notebook inserts with clear pockets. I posted this traveler's notebook I made on Instagram a few days ago, and somebody had mentioned that they'd like to see a process video on this, and I had been thinking about doing one anyway, so here it is. Here's just a view of the inside showing you the clear pockets that I put in, and mixed in some other fun papers in there as well. I love the shiny platinum foiling that comes on the Simple Stories Posh line. So we're going to be making a little bit different notebook, but with the same line and some papers. So here I have the basic supplies that we're going to need to make our insert. So some cardstock colors of your choice. You really only need one, but again, I think I'm going to work in a few more inside pages there. Some plain paper in whatever weight you choose, scissors, an eraser, and a stapler. And we also have our fuse tool, which is optional. I'll show you why here in just a few minutes, and a corner rounder, which is also optional. I just prefer to have my corners rounded. And then we have some 12 by 12 page protectors here. All right, so I've moved everything out of the way here and went ahead and plugged in my fuse tool. You want to get it nice and hot for about, I would say 15 to 20 minutes to get a really good seal on your pockets. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to explain why the fuse tool is optional with this project. If you don't have one, you can still make pockets. I use a solid 12 by 12 page protector for making pockets in the size of my choice. But if you have divided page protectors, which I think most of us do at this point with the popularity of Project Life and pocket scrapbooking, you can use one of these, and you're just simply going to trim off the sections that you don't need, and you'll have some ready-made pockets. Although they might be a little bit smaller than your notebook, still definitely workable and adds a fun element into your notebook. So I've gone off camera and trimmed down part of the page protector, and this is the piece that I'm going to be using. You can see the seam in the middle there. That's where we're going to fold and work that seam into our notebook. The edges are already sealed because that's just the way the page protector comes. So again, that eliminates the need for the fuse tool. And then you have the pockets open on top, and this is what you're going to be left with, just to show you where I trimmed it from. And if you use a steady hand and trim pretty carefully, you'll have another piece from the page protector that you can also just cut down this line and have another pocket insert. I've decided I want to use this pretty navy striped paper with the arrow pattern on the back for the cover of my notebook. So we're going to need to cut it down to 8 3/4 width by 8 1/4 high. And you're going to want to pay attention if you do have a pattern on the back as to which way you want those to go on the inside. I'd rather have my arrows to be horizontal rather than vertical, so I'm going to start cutting my paper accordingly. Again, 8 1/4 is going to be the height, so I'm just going to turn that sideways and we will trim this down. So again, when we fold that notebook in half, those arrows will be horizontal on the inside. And then 8 3/4 wide. There we go. And once we score down the middle, we'll have the cover of our notebook here. So with our paper situated, so we have the 8 3/4 width on top and 8 1/4 running down, we're gonna score at 4 3/8 inches here, and that will give us a fold right down the middle, and that'll be the cover of our notebook here. I've gone off camera and cut down my interior sheets. I have several pieces of plain white paper as well as 2 sheets of cardstock here, and I like to have a little bit of space between the edge of my interior pages and my cover, so I did cut these a little bit smaller. So they are at 8 7/16 inches across by 8 and 1/8 inches down. And then I've scored and folded those in half, and I'm gonna find the way that I think I would like them to appear in my notebook. So I'm just gonna shuffle these around a little bit. I've shuffled around my papers so it's situated in the way that I like. Of course, I don't want my pattern cardstock right next to each other. I kind of wanted to space it out throughout the booklet, so I had little pops of color there every few pages. And I placed the clear pocket here, and then when we add our cover in, that's going to be the bones of our book. So I'm going to get this all straightened out here, and then we are going to adhere it all together. I have my pages all lined up inside my cover, and I have used a binder clip here to keep them together so they don't shift while I'm stapling. Ideally, I would have put another one here at the bottom, but I could only find one. And since I don't have a long reach stapler, I saw this trick somewhere. I really wish I could remember where. I've seen it in a few different places, that you just take a regular stapler and you're gonna open it up like you're gonna staple something on the wall. And that's where this eraser comes in handy. And I usually like to test it out first just so I can see exactly where my staple's gonna go. So you staple in like that, and that will allow you to put your staple in the middle of your book without needing a long reach stapler. And the tricky part though is you just have to pull it a little bit. You don't have to give it too much, and the staple will come right out, and you'll be able to fold those in with your hands like that. So I'm going to place the eraser right underneath my notebook where I want to staple, and put that down firmly on the mat, making sure it's all lined up. And I'm going to put one staple in the top, and then I'm going to flip it around and do another one on the bottom here. And you need to press pretty firmly, depending on how many pages you have in. As you can see, that one just kind of bounced my staple out. When I did the top one, I did have to make 2 attempts on that one too, so hopefully this one goes in as easy as well. I think if you have a long reach stapler, it'll probably be a little bit simpler, but again, this is just a workaround so that you don't need that extra tool. And once you bring it in, you're just gonna fold those staples down there, down the center crease. And take your binder clip out. Just give it an extra little fold. And all put together, we have our custom traveler's notebook with a pocket. Thanks for watching.